Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Vishnu Sahasranam, stanza 30 to 30 and name 279, Spashtaksharaha. In that explanation, the world of plurality, the perishable, is no doubt nothing other than the all-perfect, the immutable truth, but due to the imperfections of the instruments of perception, body, mind and intellect, the perceiving ego can experience only this world constituted of a plurality, sense objects, emotions and thoughts. The ego peeping through the vehicles can never experience the one coordinating reality, the divine. When the mind is hushed and the ego thus is sublimated, the immutable Akshara factor is experienced, wherein we gain the clearest, spashta understanding of the Absolute, since it is thus clear, spashta only in its immutable nature. Akshara, Kutastha, Vishnu, the Supreme Soul, is indicated here as Spashtakshara. 280 Mantra, one who is of the nature of the mantras of the Vedas. The declarations of the Vedas, the mantras are the vehicles that will take us straight into an experience of the transcendental. The vehicles are often called by the name of their destination. Mantra means that which can save us on being properly meditated upon. Mananat Trayate iti mantraha. Only through the mantras of the Upanishads we ever come to experience the supreme nature of the Lord, and so he is named as Mantraha. 281 Chandranshu, rain or rays of the moon, that the moonlight has got an effect upon the herbs, walls, known to India in the Vedic period as the rays of the moon Soma. I fill the vegetable kingdom with nutrition, confesses Bhagavan Vasudeva. Pushnami chaushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. Gita 15:13. Thus the Lord is one who nurtures and nourishes all living creatures, instilling into each its particular vitality. Though this is the deep philosophical significance, superficially the beauty, calm and peace that the moon suggests to our mind is but a reflection of the infinite peace of Vishnu. 282 Bhaskaradyutihi. The effulgence of the sun. Sun is the center of the solar system, an eternal exchequer of energy, ever distributing life and strength to all living upon the earth. Life would have been impossible for the sun. At the same time, the sun stays where he is and he never interferes with life. From afar he blesses life. The Lord, who thus from afar blesses by his mere presence, is the true Son of life, the Atman, the Self, Shri Mahavishnu. Stanza 31. Amrutan Shudbhavo Bhanush Shashabindus Sureshwara Aushadham Jagatas Setus Satyadharma Parakramaha. Name 283. Amrutan Shudbhavaha. The moon who has consoling rays that gives the essential food value, rasa, to the plants and fruits is called in Sanskrit as Amrutanshuha. In the Puranas, it is described that the moon was first born from the Milky Ocean during its journeying, since Vishnu is described as ever reposing upon his Ananta bed in Kshira Sagar. The Lord is himself turned here as the begetter of the moon. Subjectively, Moonamati is the presiding deity of the intellect and the discriminating intellect itself arose when our bosom started churning the heart by the two forces, the positive, the good Deva, and the negative, vicious Asuras. If the sun is the presiding deity of energy, moon represents the world of matter, and the very source from which the world of matter, Kshetra, has risen. In Amrutatvam, Amrutanshudbhavam, Amrutanshudbhavaha. 284 Bhanu, self-effulgent, one who expresses himself from the blessing of the world in the form of the sun and presiding over the entire solar system. 285 Shashabindu, the patch in the moon looks like the silhouette of a rabbit for the naked eye. That which has a beauty spot bindu in the shape of a rabbit, Shasha, is called Shashabindu. The moon, since the Lord is the nourisher of all and he is himself the entire world of matter. He himself is the moon that nourishes the essence of all plant kingdom. Gama Vishya Bhutani Dharya Mahamajasa Ushnami Joshali Sarva Swami Vitarasa Upaya. 285, 286 Sureshwaraha. Sura means Deva, and so the term indicates the god of all gods. The word Sura also can be dissolved to mean giver of plenty. So, Sura therefore stands for a person of extreme charity. The Lord Ishvara who crowns and fulfills the loving kindness of all charitable men is Sureshwara, Lord Vishnu. 287. Aushadham, medicine. Narayan is the divine medicine for the immediate cure of all the burning sorrows of samsara. Even to consider it more directly as the specific cure for all bodily ailments is not necessarily wrong, for ailments of the body are caused by mental disintegration, and when the inner man has surrendered in devotion to him, Lord Narayan indeed becomes a specific cure for even all the physical diseases of his devotees. 288 Jagatasetuha, a reclamation bund thrown across waters, connecting distant islands to the mainland is called Setu. Sri Ramchandra ji built one and reached Lanka. The term Jagata Setu therefore implies that the Lord is himself the bridge over which one can safely cross over the realm of egocentric imperfections and reach the joyous realms of the infinite perfection. 289 Satya Dharma Parakrama, one who champions heroically the truth, Satya, and righteousness, Dharma. It can also imply as one who has truthfulness, Satyam, righteousness, Dharma, and heroism, Parakrama. In short, Lord is one who fights constantly against the false and righteous to establish truth and purity. Stanza 32 Bhuta Bhavya Bhavannatha. Pavanah Pavano Nalaha Kamaha Kamakrit Kantak Kamak Kamapradaः Prabhuः. 290 Bhuta Bhavya Bhavannathaha. The Lord of the three periods of time, the past, the present, and the future. Lord of time is the one in whose presence alone time concept is possible. Time is the interval between thoughts and the awareness that illumines the rise and fall of thoughts. He is the very Lord of time. Objectively, He is the Lord of all those that exist in the three periods of time, or He is whom all creatures conditioned by time pray for comfort, solace, and protection. 291 Pavanaha. One who purifies everything, or one who manifests as the life-giving atmosphere around the world and sustains the existence everywhere. 292 Pavanaha. In the earlier term Pavanaha, the Lord is indicated as the one who has, in the form of the atmospheric air filled the universe. He is the one who sustains life in all living creatures as the life-giving atmospheric air. Here the present term Pavanaha means the one who gives this life-sustaining power to the atmospheric air. It is very well known that the moving air breeze purifies more than any other known thing in the world. This purifying power is acquired by the atmosphere. By His grace, in short, He is the secret glory that lends the atmosphere the very life sustaining power property, and He is the dynamism that moves the air. From fear of Him the wind blows. Taittiriya Upanishad. 293 Analaha. The term itself means fire. So He who is in the form of fire and sustains life, a certain amount of minimum thermal heat is necessary for life to continue, be it in the human body or be it in the earth itself. This warmth of life is in the world around and in the organism itself, without which life cannot continue. That mighty warmth of life is none other than the Lord, and hence He is called Analaha. Also, the term Ana has the meaning of prana, and la means to receive. Therefore, the term can also imply one who is the very self, the very vital factor in the prana. 294 Kamaha. One who destroys all desires. Desires spring forth from the vasanas. We can experience the self only on transcending the vasanas, just as the sun is the destroyer of night. Similarly, the pure consciousness, the Atman, and the vasanas cannot remain attained one and the same time. The vasanas end when the Atman is experienced from the devotee standpoint. He is the one who fulfills all his desires. Or he who is the father of Kama, Pradyumna, who again is one of the names of Vishnu. Desire is the source from which endless series of other sources of life flow into the human life. When a desire arises in the mind, only two things are possible: either we fulfill the desire or we do not. In case we get our desires fulfilled, it is natural for the human mind to crave for more, and thus he becomes restless due to greed. If, on the other hand, the desire is not fulfilled, anger rises, and when anger increases, it brings about delusion of the mind and makes the victim see things in others, in himself, and the situation he is in, which are not in fact there around him. In such a deluded one, wisdom slips away, and naturally, therefore, his discriminative power cannot function, since he cannot judge the present situation with reference to any standard ideal that he had in the past. When the rational discriminative power fades away, that man falls completely off the dignity of man and becomes worse than a brute. Gita charters thus a steady physiological fall in a spiritual being, and this entire chain of self destruction springs forth from desire. A devotee or a meditator, when he approaches this great reality existing in the subjective core of his own personality, he transcends all the realms of his desires and passions, and therefore this great inner self is indicated here as the destroyer of all desires. This is the one who fulfills all desires in his devotees and thus bring about a calm fullness of joy within. 295 Kamakrut, one who fulfills all desires. The implications have been indicated in the analysis of the previous term. It can also mean as the very creator of the Lord of Love, Kamadeva, even though desires spring forth from the realms of the uh, causal body. Causal body are constituted of the vasanas without the thrilling touch of the self. Even vasanas cannot express all by themselves in that sense of the term. The very agitations of desire erupt from his grace, hence he is called the Kamakrut. 296 Kanta, one who is of enchanting form, infinite beauty is the very nature of the self, and the Upanishads define the self as Shantam Shivam Sundaram. The aestheticism in man craves for harmony, and where we experience the greatest of harmony, there we detect the presence of beauty. In front of beauty, the entire personality of an intelligent man becomes calm and peaceful, hushed in silence, transported to ecstasy. These are moments when the meditator has transcended his sheaths and is in union with the pure self. Naturally, therefore, the pure personality of the intelligent man becomes calm and peaceful. Self is indicated here as Kanta, divine auspicious form of absolute reality. 297 Kamaha, one who is the beloved. Not only he is the beloved of the devotees, but every activity of all living creatures is an attempt at courting and winning bliss and happiness. The blissful self is the goal of all creatures in life. Even in insignificant unicellular organism revolt against pain, and they too seek happiness. Man is not exception. Man is no exception. The infinite bliss which is experienced only on transcending the body, mind, and intellect is that which is constantly demanded by every organism that breathes in this universe. In the ignorance of this all satisfying goal, the world suffers that Lord is the beloved of all devotees, and in fact, he is also the beloved of even those who deny him and run after the sense objects. The theist seeks him through devotion and meditation. The atheist too seeks him only in and through all his diligent pursuits of the sense stimuli. 298 Kamapradaha, one who supplies the desired objects, one who fulfills all desires. To the devotee, the Lord is the giver of all desired objects, and to a man of meditation, the Lord is that state of mind where all desires are fulfilled, in the sense that no more can any desire linger in his heart after the experience divine. 299. Prabhu, he is the Lord, the Master, the Owner, the Protector. One, the proprietor, one who has all powers to do kartum, not to do akartum, and to do otherwise anyatha kartum, is called the Great Lord. Stanza 33. Yugadikru yugavarto naikamayo mahashana adrushyo vyaktarupascha sahasrajugalamitaji. 300. Yugadikrut, one who is the creator of the divisions of aeons, described in our Puranas as yugas. These yugas are four in number: Kruta Yug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. In short, he is the Lord of time. By the term Adi, it must be understood to indicate all other divisions of time as centuries, years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. He is not only the Lord of the Yugas, but he is the light of consciousness that illumines the duration of each experience and the very interval between every pair of subjective experiences. 301. Yugavartaha. In the previous terms, the Lord is indicated in the creator of the Yugas, and here we are told that he is the one also the power behind the wheel of time that goes on changing and repeating itself. That is, not only he is the Lord of time, but he is the mighty administrator of the performance of time, the very law behind the constant flood of time. 302. Naikamaya, one whose delusory forms are endless and variegated. According to Puranas, for the sake of sustaining the world and maintaining in order and rhythm, the Lord had taken different forms, each of its manifestations well suited for the times of his arrival. Thus we have 10 incarnations. Also in that mighty manifestations of the Lord as Krishna and Rama, we find descriptions of how one and the same entity generated different attitudes and emotions in different types of people. In short, one who has realized the self can thereafter freely play through all his existing vasanas, and none of them can ever entangle him because he has gone to be the master of his own vasanas. Maya, otherwise called as avidya, is constituted of the vasanas in us, forming our causal body. One who has transcended this in the one is the one who has realized the infinite. Lord is therefore one who is without Maya in him. An individual entity like us is one who is under the tyrannies of Maya. The Lord is one who can wield Maya for his purpose without himself becoming involved in it. 303. Mahashanaha. This word can be dissolved as he who eats up everything. Mahat Ashanam Yasya Saha Mahashanaha. One who swallows up all perceptions, emotions, and thoughts created by the vasanas at the various levels of personality due to our own individual vasanas at the time of samadhi, when the limited ego is ended and the supreme is experienced. All the expressions of vasanas are, as it were, swallowed by that infinite experience, and therefore this great Vishnu is called as the consumer of everything. 304. Adrishyaha. Through the sense organs, the mind and intellect at this moment, we are aware of the outer objects and our subjective emotions and thoughts. The ultimate reality is neither the objects Perceived by us now the instruments of our perception. It is the very perceiver in all perceptions. 305 Vyaktarupaha, he who has a form clearly perceptible to the meditator in his meditation. The contradiction is so smotheringly apparent because of the very placing of the tongue. It is only just now in the bottom that we are told that the Lord is imperceptible, adrishya, and the very following term declares that he is perceptible. Here it means that though he is not perceptible with the physical instruments of perception, yet on transcending the equipments, the yogi intimately comes to experience the entire divine beauty of the self. Though ordinarily it is not easy to see him, in the devotee's heart the Lord comes to play vividly and drives the devotee mad in his ecstasy. Sahasrajit, one who vanquishes thousands in all the Puranas, everywhere it is found that the incarnations manifest to destroy the diabolically fallen Rakshasas who approach the good in endless hordes to annihilate them. One who conquers over these diabolical forces is the Lord Vishnu. Subjectively, the hosts of passions and lusts, greeds and jealousies, which invade the inner bosom and loot away the seeker's tranquility and peace, are all ultimately vanquished by this higher consciousness, and therefore the self is indicated as the one who is ever victorious over all the hordes of our lower impulses. 307 Anantajit, ever victorious, the victory of the Lord. Upanishad declares Satyameva Jayate Nandrutam. Truth alone wins, never falsehood. The victory over negative forces become complete when once the higher consciousness is experienced, and hence the self is indicated here as Anantajit. Stanza 34 Ishto Vishishta Shishteshta Shikhandi Nausha Vrishaha Krodhaha Krodhukrit Karta Vishwabhur Mahidharaha. 308 Ishtaha. This term can be interpreted in two ways. One who is invoked through the different types of Vedic rituals, yajnas is Ishtaha, or it can also be mean assuming one who is loved by all, the Lord being the very nature, center of all love in everyone, due to being the source of all love. Sarva Premaspadatvat. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad very clearly indicates this idea in almost unvarnished words. The man loves his wife not because of the wife, but because of himself, etc. All love springs from one personal love for the infinite, which is the self in us. 309 Vishishtaha, one who is the noblest and the most sacred. Vishnu, the Lord, dwells in the heart of everyone. He is the sole essence presiding over every physical, mental, and intellectual activity in every living creature, and therefore he is indicated by this term. 310 Shishteshtaha, to all spiritually minded Guru people, And therefore, sincere seekers, the Lord is the greatest beloved inasmuch as He represents the goal and destination of all devoted seekers. In short, He is the supreme beloved for all spirituality inclined divine hearts. He can also mean that the Lord is one who himself is sincere and ardent lover and courtier of all devotees, sincerely and diligently seeking him. There are commentators who indicate that the term can also mean one who is being constantly invoked and held in adoration by all true devotees with their physical, mental, and intellectual activities. 311 Shikhandi. One who wears Shikhandas means the peacock figure. Lord Krishna is described in Bhagavat as having been adorned with the eye of the peacock figure, especially in his early child and boyhood. 312 Naushaha. The term Nahanam means bondage, therefore, the term stands for one who is familiar with bondages. In Vedanta, the word Ishvara is the supreme consciousness conditioned by the total causal body Maya. At the same time, Ishvara is one who has the Maya under his control. It can also be understood as one who binds all creatures of the world with the cord of Maya. Those who are students of the Puranas interpret this word as one whose glory was expressed in the spectacular magnificence in Nahusha, who gained the office of Indra. 303 Vrushaha. There is a famous statement in the Hindu tradition from which we can gather that the Lord is of the nature of Dharma. Dharma means the essential law of being, that because of which an individual is an individual, without which the individual cannot exist, is the dharma of the individual. In this sense, the essential dharma of one is the self, thus Vrushaha is but another name to suggest that the Lord Vishnu is none other than the self in us. It can also mean Shishtanam Ishtaha, the beloved of the good people. Shishta Ishtaha Yasya Saha Vrusho hi Bhagavan Dharma. One who showers the fulfillment of all desires in all devotees. Desires arise when the existing vasanas get impatient and explode into manifestation. As the desire arises, the mind plans out and the body acts towards its fulfillment. All are possible only when the vehicles are thrilled by the self in us. Thus, ultimately, one who fulfills all desires is the Lord of our hearts, the Atman. 314 Krodha. One who destroys anger, Krodha in all sincere seekers. We have already found earlier that anger manifests when fulfillment of a deep desire is obstructed. On realizing the Lord, all desires end, and therefore there cannot be any anger on any occasion. Also, anger can come only when we recognize the world of plurality around us. For one who is experiencing the self, there is nothing but the oneself everywhere, and therefore there is no anger, occasion to entertain any emotion of anger. This emotion of anger. 315 Krodha Krutkarta. One who generates in a sincere and serious seeker anger against the lower tendencies when they manifest Krodha Krut. Also, he is the very creative impulse karta behind the lower tendencies, because All things come from him alone. Some commentators consider this term as two different words, but the majority consider them as an integrated one. 316 Vishwabahu, one who has number of hands, whose hands are everywhere doing all activities in the universe. The life is the bosom. As long as it exists, so long alone the hands and the legs function. The hands can lift and do its job only when it is in contact with life. Life expressing through the hand is its function. All hands that are doing variegated activities all over the world are all his hands. In as much as where he is not, that lifeless hand can perform no more any activity. Since he is thus the dynamic one principle that functions through all hands at work, he is called a Vishwabhavu. 317 Mahidharaha, one who is the substratum and support of the earth. Mahi, the Lord is the very material cause for the universe, and as such he supports the world, just as cotton supports the cloth, mud supports the pot, gold supports the ornament. Since the term Mahi also means the adoration sent up by the devotees, it can also mean one who receives all the worship of devoted hearts. Stanza 35 Achyutah Prathitah Pranah Pranado Vasavanujaha Apan Nidhiradhishthanam Apramattah Pratishtitah. 318 Achyutah, one who has not got any modifications, Chuta, such as birth, growth, decay, disease, death, etc. The eternal and immutable cannot have any change, and self being the eternal, it cannot have any of the changes that are natural to all mortal and finite things. Upanishads themselves thunder this truth, eternal, auspicious, and changeless. Shashvatam Shivam Achyutam. 319 Prathitaha, one who exists pervading all, spreading himself everywhere. It can also mean one whose glory has a meaning of destruction, and therefore the term comprehends also the power of destruction everywhere. According to the Puranas, therefore, he is the one who gives the strength, the glory for Devas, and again he is the one who supplies special strength to them to win over the brutal forces of the diabolically wicked. The Asuras, the Asuras. Subjectively, it is the self that supplies the mental strength for cultivating the higher values of life, and it is the same source behind that floods the seeker's heart with the courage to annihilate the lower impulses that come to destroy his peace and tranquility within. 322 Vasavanujaha, the brother of Indra. This name has been acquired by Lord Vishnu because of his incarnation as the adorable dwarf Vamana. At that time, the Lord had to take birth in the womb of Aditi and manifest as the younger brother of Indra in the subjective science of Vedanta. The king of the gods, Indra, is the lord of the sense organs, and so he is the mind, the spiritual urge that dawns in us as a young brother of the mind, ultimately comes to measure away and win over the three worlds of waking, dream, and deep sleep, and thus comes to conquer over the entire kingdom of Indra in more sense than one. 323 Apan Nidhihi, treasure of waters, meaning the ocean. The very glory and might of the oceans are all but reflection of Sri Narayana's own glory, divine in the Gita. Bhagavan himself says, among the collections of waters, I am the ocean. Sarasamasmi Sagaraha. 324 Adhishthanam, the substratum for the entire universe. The illusory misconceptions can be projected only upon something that is real, and this permanent host is called the substratum for the delusory ghost vision. Matsthani Sarvabhutani. 320 the false concept of an ego, self judgment. 370 on something else to serve as its cause, since all things that we perceive and experience in the world are all effects. They have their own causes, and the effects must necessarily depend upon the cause for their very existence. The Supreme Lord is the one uncaused cause, with reference to whom everything is only an effect. Since he is thus the ultimate cause, he is not depending upon anything other than himself. This self-established reality is indicated by the term Pratisthita. Stanza 36. Skanda Skandadharo Dhuryo Varado Vayuvahana Vasudevo Vasudevo Brahadbhano Radideva Purandar. Different personality layers in the seeker should be completely integrated. 328 Skandadhara, one who upholds the withering righteousness, or one who fathered Lord Subramanya. One who carries out these functions systematically without any hitch around millenniums is Sri Narayan, and he is therefore Dhrandhurya. 330 Varadaha, one who blesses all true devotees and fulfills their request for boons. It can also mean one who gives the best Param in life to those who seek him with perfect detachment and sharpened discrimination. 331 Vayuvahanaha, the one who controls, regulates and moves the great winds. In the Sanskrit literature, the movement of air in the atmosphere has been classified under 7 types, and they are called the Sapta Marutaha. Avahan, Pravahan, Vivahan, Paramavan, Udvahan, Samvahan, Parivahan. In short, the inconceivable might and power by his own munificence, and therefore he is called as Vayu Vahanaha. 332 Vasudevaha, one who is at once both Vasu and Devaha. Vasu means one who dwells in the physical equipment of all living creatures as its indweller, Jiva. Deva means one who reveals or one who illumines. Thus Vasudeva means one who lives in the physical equipment as though one who is born as the son of Shri Vasudeva in the Jeva. All beings remain being, and hence Vasudeva. 333 Brahadbhanu, possessed of endless rays, meaning one who illumines the world with the rays of the sun and the moon. Mahabharata says others, and he who illumines the universe through them is called the possessor of great rays. Mahabharata Udyog Parva 70.4. Tripura Samhara. Stanza 37. Ashokastaranastara Shura Shaurya Janeshwara Anukula Shatavartah Padme Padma Nivekshana. 336 Ashoka, one who has no sorrows, Sorrow is a condition experienced when the mind is agitated and extremely disturbed. The agitations of the mind come from desires, greed, etc. Therefore, the term Ashoka indicates one who has none of these negative tendencies that create in their turn more and more mental disturbances. This is a true appellation because the Lord, as the Self, transcends the realm of the thought disturbances constituted by the mind intellect equipment. 337 Tarana, one who enables others to cross the ego suffering, the constant agitations of the equipments is saved by the self, the ego, jiva, and Vinitra. These three terms indicate how Vishnu is the absolute protector of his devotees. He saves us from the afflictions. Ashokaha of the body and so subjective sorrows, Adhyatma, he enables us to cross the ocean of samsara, Taranaha, and therefore he saves us from all cosmic pains, Adhibhutaha. He saves us from the elements Taraha, and so he is the savior from all sorrows of birth and death. This indicates all trans-cosmic tragedies Adhidayikaha, meaning that Narayan can save us from all sorrows contributed by the hand of gods. 339 Shuraha, the valiant, all sources of strength and courage spring from the life in us, and therefore the Lord of the universe is called here as the valiant capable of crushing all unrighteous forces, however well entrenched they may be in the world. 340 Shaurihi. Shurasena is the father of Vasudeva, and we have already found that Vasudeva's son is Vasudeva. Therefore, the Lord had taken his incarnation in the family of Shura, and so he is termed as Shaurihi. Shurasya Gotrapatyam Puman Shaurihi. 340 Shaurihi. Shurasena is the father of Vasudeva. Shauri 341 Janeshwaraha, the Lord of the people, Jana, those who are born, Janana Dharmavan Janaha, who are born are called Jana. Therefore, the term indicates that he is the Lord of all creatures born in the universe. 342 Anukulaha, a hearty well-wisher, all friend of everyone. Since the Lord is the essential life in everyone, he is the friend and ally of every individual, inasmuch as nobody spends his life except in concurrence with his own subjective intentions and purposes. Thus, the Lord is the friend fulfilling the intentions of a murderer, and he is again the friend of one helping him to serve the mankind. If that be his intention, thus he is a friend and a devoted ally to everyone, since he is the mighty power behind all vasanas expressing through all creatures. 341 Shatavartaha. Shata means 100, and here it is used as innumerable. Thus the term Navarta means one who takes infinite varieties of forms. All forms in the universe are but his own, inasmuch as his manifestation is the universe. Again, he takes innumerable incarnations in order to maintain the law of the cosmos and also the law of evolution. It can also mean one who, as prana, moves in the innumerable nadis in the body. 344 Padmi, one who has the lotus in his hand. The lotus is the national flower in Bharat, as it symbolizes in our culture the goal of our spiritual life. It is to offer this knowledge that the Lord blows his conch. And if people are not listening to this silent call of the higher from within, he uses his gada mace to give merciful knocks in life. Still, if an individual or a generation is not listening to his kindly warnings, he has the discus chakra in his hand. He annihilates totally the existing forms and recreates. 345 Padma Nibhekshanaha, one whose eyes are as beautiful as the lotus, in short, lotus eyed. Stanza 38 Padmanabho Ravindakshav Padmagarbha Sharirabhrut Mahardi Ruddho Vruddhatma Mahaksho Garudadhvajaha. 346 Padmanabha, one who has the lotus in his navel. This is not to be taken literally. Navel Navi is the psychic center where all unmanifest thoughts first spring from forth into one recognition, our recognition, Pashanti. The seedless state of all thoughts is called in the Yoga Shastra as Para Pashanti Madhyama Vaik. In the lotus of the heart of his devotee. Some translate as he who is seated in the pericarp of the lotus. 347 Arvindakshaha, one who has eyes as beautiful as the lotus. The lotus opens at sunrise and closes in the night. The Lord opens his beauty and grace in the presence of the devotees, and the flood of his grace, as it were, dries up in the presence of the dark sensuality of the ignorant. 348 Padmagarbha, one who is being meditated upon of the body. 350 Mahardhihi, one who has great riddhi, is the first self-meaning. He is the self whose manifestations are the world of plurality. 353 Mahaksha, the great eyed, meaning the eyes that can see not only the world of objects but also X-ray through them and see all that are happening deep within the bosom of all creatures. He is the great eye, seeing all at all times, as he is the consciousness that illumines everything at all times in all bosoms. 354 Garudadhvaja, one who has the eagle Garud as his insignia on his flag. The eagle is considered as the vehicle of the Lord, most probably because the bird ever soars high and from above sees even the minutest speck of dirt in the world. The eagle, after spying the carrion, swoops down and takes it away, thus purifying the atmosphere. Similarly, the Lord never allows any negative thought to come into the heart of his devotees, and hence the eagle is considered as his vehicle. Stanza 39. Atulasharago bhimasamayajño havirharihi sarvalakshana lakshanyo lakshmiman samitinjayah. 355. Atulaha, incomparable, for him whose name is the glory of the universe, there is no license. Shvetashvatar Upanishad 4.19. Again, Bhagavad Gita says, for thy equal exists not, where is another superior in the three? The life that presides over the perishable body, whose glory is the individuality, is the self, the Lord. It can also mean Lord who is of the nature of Parameshwara. For Lord Shiva had once taken the incarnation of Sharabha, a creature with 8 legs, capable of killing even the lions. 357. Bhima, the all-inspiring, the terrible, meaning one who is a mighty and terrible phenomenon to those who are cruel and sensuous in the world. To the bad, the Lord is always a frightful power of vengeance to follow them relentlessly as their doom. Some commentators, due to the Prahlad says, to be equal in all conditions is the worship of Achyuta. Samattvamaradhanamachyutasya. Vishnu Puran 1.17.90. 359. Havir Harihi, the receiver of all oblation. He is the Lord of all yajnas, and as such he is the one to whom the devotee offers his oblation, and he is the one who receives them in all dedicated activities. Bhagavad Gita says, I am indeed the enjoyer and also the Lord of all sacrifices. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Gita 10:24. 9:20 और 9:24 है. The Lord is called Havish as he is worshipped through oblation. Some commentators recognize in this term 2 different names of the Lord, Havihi and Harihi. In this case, the former term Havi means he who is invoked by everyone who performs the yajnas. The term Hari means one who loots away all vasanas, papa, and consequently one who wipes away all expressions of vasanas. 360. Sarvalakshana Lakshanyaha, known through all methods of proofs, meaning he is the one self that is ultimately proved by all scientific investigations and philosophical inquiries, whether it be through dualistic Dvaita or through non-dualistic Advaita. Philosophy, the ultimate truth experienced by the realized seeker, is the great Vishnu. 361. Lakshmiman, the consort of Lakshmi, he is the spirit Purusha that thrills the entire world of matter, Prakriti. Matter thrilled with the spirit is the dynamic world that we see around. Thus the manifested Lord is ever wedded to Lakshmi. Lakshmi also also means effulgent, and therefore the Lord, who is ever effulgent, meaning the pure consciousness that illumines everything, is indeed Lakshmi Van. 362 Samitinjaya, ever victorious in the Puranas, we find the Lord ultimately wins in all his battle with the unrighteous forces. He is the destroyer of all pains in the individuality of the devotees. Samiti as a word has got the meaning battle. Stanza 40 Viksharo Rohito Margod Hetur Damodaras Saha Mahidharo Mahabhago Vegavanamitashanah. 363 Viksharaha. Viksharaha means decaying, that which is perishing, and so Viksharaha means I am imperishable. Those who are meditating upon the Lord in His unmanifested state of glory, this term is very often used. All material things are conditioned by time, and all objects are therefore perishable. The Lord, the Self, is the subject and is therefore ever unchanging and always imperishable. 364 Rohitaha. The term Rohita means fish, and this name has come to indicate Lord Vishnu because of his first incarnation as the fish. When the entire world has submerged in the waters of the deluge, the only living creatures that were available at that time could only be fishes. Lord could incarnate at that time only in the form of the fish. Therefore, here the term means one who had manifested to serve the living creatures as the fish among the fishes. 365 Margaha, the path. In order to realize the highest, which is the nameless and formless, human mind will have to first hold on to a divine form, and that is Lord Vishnu. He is the way and the goal. In short, He is the one whom seekers of highest meditate upon in order to reach the Supreme. 366 Hetu, the cause, one who is the cause for the whole universe. He is at once the material cause, Upadan Karan, the instrumental cause. He is one who is known through a mind which is purified, Udara, by means of self-control, Dhamma, and such other qualities. According to Mahabharata, we call him as Damodara, as he is known by means of Dhamma. Brahma Puran recapitulates the ancient in the early childhood of the Lord when he was tied with a cord, Dhamma, round his waist, Udara. This term can also mean one in whose bosom rests the whole universe. 368 Sahaha. All enduring, the Lord is one who has patience at everything and is one who readily forgives all the faults of his sincere devotees. 369 Mahidharaha. The supporter or the bearer of the earth, since he is the very essence in the universe as its material cause. He is the one who supports all forms in the universe. The Lord supports the world just as gold supports the ornaments. The cotton supports the cloth, the ocean supports the waves. 370 Mahabhaga. He who has extreme beauty in all his limbs, or he who is ever fortunate, or he who gets the great share bhaga is in every yajna. 371 Vegavan. he who is swift, one who is the fastest in reaching the devotee the moment his loving heart remembers him. By import, it means that he is all pervading, therefore, he is the fastest inasmuch as nothing can ever overtake him. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, he is indicated as swifter, the mind. Damodaram vidhu damani lokanamani tani yasya udarantare Vyasa's own words. Nainat deva apnuvan puro marshat Ishavasya Upanishad stanza 4. In the Ishavasya Upanishad, he is indicated as swifter than the mind. Manaso javiyaha. 372 Amitashanah. Of endless appetite, this should not be taken literally, but it only means that the entire world of plurality projected by the mind merges back when the mind is transcended at the time of the experience of the self. Just as we can say that the waker swallows the dreamer, the higher consciousness with an infinite appetite, as it were, swallows the infinite cosmos. Hence, figuratively, he is considered as the great consumer of the whole world of plurality during involution, pralay. Involution pralay. Stanza 41 Udbhavak Shobhano Devashri Garbhash Parmeshwara Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha. 373 Udbhavaha. The originator. The Lord is the material cause from which the entire universe arises, and therefore he is the origin for the cosmos, or it can mean to indicate one who is again and again born as the endless jivas under the urge of their individual vasanas. 374 Kshobhanaha, the agitator. If the self were not in the equipments will not get agitated, will not pursue their functions. The Atman, the pure consciousness, is that which thrills and agitates both the matter, Prakriti, and energy, Purusha, and causes the manifestation of the living entities, Jiva, who, with their actions, constitute the dynamic aspect of the world. If the self is not there, there can be no moment of expression in life. Everything would have remained completely inert and insentient. He is the Lord who thrills the world and makes it all beautifully palpitating with life. Hence, he is called as the agitator Shobhanaha. 375 Devaha. One who revels is Deva. The term is dissolved as Divyati iti Devaha. This term Divyati in Sanskrit also means to conquer, to shine, and to praise. Therefore, Lord Vishnu is rightly called as Devaha because he sports through his play, the great creation, sustenance, destruction, play. He functions in all beings as he shines as the universal consciousness, and he is praised by all the devotees. Shvetashatar Upanishad indicates there is only one Deva. 376 Sri Garbha, containing all glories within, one in whom all are glories Aishwarya, the glory of the Lord in the universe, and this universe resides in him, and therefore all powers and glories that are manifested in the universe are also ever in him. 377 Parameshwaraha, the Supreme Parama Lord Ishvaraha. The fanatics generally interpret the word to mean as the only Lord, in the sense that all other concepts of God are wrong. The large-hearted, tolerant rishis of old could have never meant such a meaning. It could only mean that He is the Supreme Consciousness whose expressions are all the deities. The term Ishvara indicates both might and glory. Therefore, Parameshwara means one who is omnipotent and all glorious. 378 Karanam, the instrument, that which is most useful in fulfilling any piece of work, is called the tool or the instrument. So, the grammarians, Vaiyakarnas, define it as sadhanatamam karanam. Panini says satantrak karta, karturipsitam karma, karturipsita tamam karma, karturipsita tamam karma. For the creation of the world, He is the instrumental cause, Nimitta Karana. 379 Karanam, the cause. By the earlier term, it was indicated that He is the instrumental cause, Nimitta Karana, for the whole universe. Here now, by this term, it is indicated that He is the very material cause, Upadan Karana, of the universe. Since the term directly means only the cause, it can mean not only the material cause, but also it can suggest the instrumental cause. In the former case, it could mean He from whom the whole universe arises, and in the latter sense, the term is interpreted by some commentators as He who causes the universe to emerge out. 380 Karta, the doer. He is the one in whose presence alone all activities are possible, and hence by a transferred epithet, though the doings of all belong to the equipments, the self is called as the doer, one who can freely perform all the functions of creation, sustenance and destruction is the doer. 381 Vikarta, one who creates the infinite varieties that constitute the universe. It can also mean one who has created out of himself the endless self-manifestations of incarnations. 382 Gahanaha, the unknowable, one who cannot be comprehended by any of the known instruments of knowledge, one who is not an object of perception, but is the very subject and perceiver in all sense organs. 383 Guhaha, one who dwells in the cave of the heart, meaning one who is the very core of every living creature. He is concealed within the equipments, and hence He is described as in one scriptures as one who dwells in the cave of the heart. The Smriti describes Him as this Lord, the great Purush, the witness who dwells in the cave most secretively. Gudho Guhashayas Sakshi Mahapurusha Ishvaraha. Vishnu Bhagavat 10.37.1. Mundaka Upanishad describes the self as Nihitam Guhayam. Again, the Lord Himself says, I am not readily perceivable by all, as I am veiled by my own Maya. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavritaha. Stanza 42. Vyavasayo vyavasthanas samsthanas sthanado dhruvah parardhif paramaspashtas tushtav pushtas shubhekshanah. 384. Vyavasayah, resolute being of the nature of pure wisdom. There is no vacillation in him. All irresolution is at the level of the doubting mind and the unprepared intellect. The term Vyavasaya also means yoga. In this sense, the term is used in the Gita. The intellect of one who is practicing yoga is single pointed without vacillation. Vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha gurunandana. Gita 2:41. Again in the same chapter, criticizing those who are running after enjoyment and power, Krishna says those who are reveling in sensuality and consequently disturbing the poise of their intellect cannot have a steady mind and consistent pursuit of yoga. भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया परुत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधान विधीयते. Gita 2:44. To work persistently until the goal is reached is resolution. To steadily apply ourselves in continuously with realistic world. The one who orders the laws of the cosmos and administers those laws. 386. Samsthana, the ultimate authority, state or goal. He who absorbs unto himself all the multiplicities of name and forms during the time of Dilash Pralay, the one source into which all perceptions, emotions, and thoughts retire and merge at the time of deep sleep. It means Karmaphaladata Ishvaro Narayana. Thus, the one who gives the appropriate abode sthana to each individual jiva is called sthanadaha. In short, the Lord is the distributor of the fruits of action. 388. Dhruvaha, the stable, the firm, that which remains the changeless in the midst of changes, that which is imperishable in the midst of all perishing. Nityo Anityanam Kathopanishad 2.5.13 Chaitanas Chaitananam. Kathopanishad 2.5.13 Divya Yatma Vibhutayam. Gita chapter 11. 10. 388. Dhruvaha, the stable, the firm, that which remains the changeless in the midst of changes, that which is imperishable in the midst of perishing. The body, the mind, and the intellect, and the worlds interpreted by them are all variables and changeable. The consciousness which illumines all of them and makes us aware of them is indeed the changeless. 389. Parardhihi, one who has the supreme manifestation, Riddhi. The glory, Vibhuti of the Lord is expressed in his manifestations, and these manifestations are indeed divine, as the Gita thunders. The glories of the self are indeed divine. 390. Paramaspashtaha, the extremely vivid. He who is the extremely clear of to those who have conquered the agitations and all disturbing thought currents of the mind through a successful pursuit of the practice of meditation. He being the very self, nothing is in fact, is so clear, meaning so self-evident as the pure consciousness is in us. No experience in the outer world or in our subjective bosom would have been possible had it not been for the light of the self. Even the sense of individuality in us is but an image of this awareness, which is the very self in every living creature. It being thus the absolute subjective essence, it is described as the most vivid. 391 Tushtaha, the ever contented, meaning the one who is happy at the minimum offering of the devotee. I accept even if you offer some leaf or flower, or fruit or spoon of water, happily if it is offered in love. Confess Lord Krishna in the Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktipurutam ashnami prayatatmanah. The self being beyond body, mind and intellect, it cannot have any of the sense of imperfections or incompleteness, and as such, the all full self must be all at all times complete in himself. Naturally, therefore, he is all blissful. Consequently, his nature must ever be supreme contentment. 392 Kushtaha, one who is ever full, the supreme consciousness being all pervading. He is infinitely full, nothing can we take out of it, nor can we add to it. It is ever full, and therefore, even when the manifestations emerge out from it, it is not less for it. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. When full is taken away from the full alone remains. Ishavasya Upanishad Shanti Path. 393 Shubhekshanaha, all auspicious gaze. One whose very gaze brings streams of auspiciousness to the devotee, the self being beyond vasanas. One who realizes the self goes beyond all sins. A devotee walking the very path and moving towards the spiritual contents purifies himself from all sins, since he will be living a life not identifying with his body, mind, and intellect. Stanza 43 Ramo Viramo Virajo Margo Neyo Nayo Naya. 394 Rama, that which revels in every form, or that in which all yogins in their meditation revel. In Padma Puran it is clearly defined in him who is eternal bliss, pure consciousness and endless. The yogins revel, therefore, by the term Rama, the Supreme Self is indicated. The term can also mean one who has a compelling charm about himself, he who is the most handsome. 395 Viramaha, he in whom the creatures rest, the abode of perfect rest, having reached which there is no return into the realms of experiences. That state is called Viramaha. Some commentators recognize in this term a meaning as he Ishwar in whom the world of plurality merges during the deluge. Ramante yogino asmin niti Ramaha, Ramante yogino anante nityanande chidatmane. इति रामपदेन सो परब्रह्मा विधीयते. 396 Virajaha, passionless. One who is not associated with the agitations, rajas, of the mind. The mind gets agitated when it identifies with the sense objects of the world outside. The Atman, the self in its pure nature, has no such identifications and therefore he is recognized as passionless. 397 Marga, the path. There is no other way to know him for complete liberation. There is no way other than realizing the self, Sri Narayana. Neyaha 398 Neyaha, the guide, the conductor, he who guides and ultimately takes the seeker to the reality is Lord Narayana, the Saguna Brahman. Through surrender to Narayana, the devotee develops the integration within, and when fully integrated, he becomes the meditator, and through meditation, the highest is achieved. Therefore, Vishnu is indicated here as the conductor. The term can also mean one who is fit to be conducted to the highest. The individual ego is that which tries to realize its own real nature, the self. The very individuality, Jiva, who is fit to be led towards the gateway to the higher consciousness, is the one that has removed its false attachments and is held in animated joy in meditation. In essence, such a jiva is nothing other than the Supreme, and therefore the Supreme is thus called as the jiva. Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. 398 Nayaha, one who leads. When such a true devotee slowly and steadily gains his detachments from the outer world, he removes himself more and more into the higher and subtler states of consciousness. The one who leads such a seeker is again the grace of the same self, Atmabala. 400 Anayaha. If the ego is led by the Lord as Nayaha to the highest, then when once the supreme state is reached, it has none to lead or guide it. The Lord guides all, but there is none to guide him. This is because he is all pervading, and therefore he needs no guide to lead him to himself, as he is everywhere at all times. 401 Viraha, the valiant one who by his prowess creates the fear in the minds of the Rakshasas. 402 Shaktimatam Shresthaha, the best among those who have power. All powers that are available have been classified under three types: the power of knowledge, Jnana Shakti, the power of desire, Ichha Shakti, and the power of action, Kriya Shakti. All these powers are expression of the self in the intellect, in the subconscious mind, and in the physical body, respectively. Naturally, the self is the best among all the kinds of powers, inasmuch as powers are expressions of this great self. 403 Dharma. This term is used in Hinduism in thousands of other shades, that to the early student the meaning of this term is lost in confusion. Dharma of a thing is that because of which the thing is, without which the thing is not. This term dharma has therefore been translated as the law of being. The dharma of the sun is light, the dharma of the fire is heat, the dharma of sugar is sweetness. What then is the dharma of the individual? The essential dharma of the individual can only be the self, because without which the individual cannot exist, and the individual's expressions, physical, mental, and intellectual, are all expressions of the self through the equipment in him. Thus, dharma means the one self in all individuals. This essential dharma in anything is that it supports the things, and therefore the self, which is the essence everywhere, is considered as the very one which supports everything. 404. Dharma Viduttamaha, one who is the highest among men of realization. All those who know the reality are knowers of the self, naturally. Therefore, the self is the best knower among all knowers of the self. Stanza 44. Vaikuntha Purushah Pranah Pranadav Pranavav Pruthuhu Hiranyagarbha Shatrugno Vyapto Vayuradhokshajah. 405. Vaikuntha, one who prevents men from going astray into wrong paths. Vaikuntha. In Mahabharata it is mentioned.
Jaya Shri Ram, Jaya Raghuram, Janaki Jeevan Sundar Ram.